Hi, hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is our second Zoom talk from Unobtainium Photobooks. Now we are inviting Withit Chanthamarit from Vacilando Books, a photo bookstore from Bangkok, Thailand. Am I spelling your name correctly?
Yeah, you spell it correctly.
Okay. Uh, to keep things under an hour, I'm going to ask directly. So can you let me know what's the history of the bookstore? How do you start it?
Okay, it's quite for a while that I start my bookshop since 2017. Before I'm making bookshop, I was working in the feature film industry. I was a location manager before, and many positions in the crew. Like I used to be still photographers. I used to be in the art department, and sometimes I'm doing management in the production as well. But my latest position was the location manager. Like then, when I was do the scouting for location to many places around Thailand, I went to the bookshop, the second-hand bookshop, and I found out that there were many interested photo book, many interesting photo book that still inside that second-hand bookshop and sell for low price. But actually, those books are rare and many of them are out of print. So I buy it and keep in stock at my place. At first, I give them to my friends as a gift. But when I reach like many copies, so I start thinking that how come should I handle with this? So I opened my online bookshop in Instagram first and selling most of the item as a second-hand one. In the same year, I started the bookshop online in March, I guess. In the same year, in September, there were the first Bangkok Art Book Fair. So I got invitation from my friends to, would you like to join the tables? It's fine to sell the second-hand bookshops. He's my friend and he also a photographer as well. But most of his collection are magazine because he is a fashion photographer. Yeah, so from that, it is my very first time that I moved from online bookshop to the physical one. Like just only one table, and the book fair was only 4 days, I guess, in 2017. Yeah, but the first year is very difficult to sell. I might say that most of the items are secondhand. Every single titles only 1 or 2 copies. And at that year, it is not my main job at all. It's like my hobbies.
So on the first year, you are still having your main job. Okay.
Yes, in 2017, I still have main job. Like I doing production for 3 months, and then I have 1 month a break. And in that month, I collect some books from the scouting and from many places. I sell books for 1 month and then I stop.
Okay.
It's like session. And then I go back to do the location stuff and doing other job. I just changed to become full-time bookshop owner in 2019, late 2019.
So
maybe Adit, you can explain how we start. the bookshop.
Yeah, how you start the bookshop? I remember you said you are a lawyer,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I once worked as a
Once.
corporate lawyer
Okay.
for 2 years, and then become interested in photography and quite hating my office life. Ferry also hate his office life, and I don't know why he quit the job. But
You never asked.
but we started the bookshop after a few years after we are quitting the job. So basically we're just bored, and also we love photo books, but cannot find many photo books in our usual online store, which is the book depository. Have you heard of them? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So
With it?
You're not moving.
can you still hear me?
I still hear you, but the okay, it's moving. Okay.
Okay. And then
Back to you quit your office.
yeah, we quit our office lives, and then so the problem for Indonesian is we don't have any bookstore that specialize in photo books. So we get our bookstore we get our books from online seller such as Book Depository, and
Same.
yeah, and we found that we cannot find many interesting photo books there. Let's say if I want to buy a book from Mac, I cannot purchase them in Book Depository back then. So so in short, that's how we start the bookstore.
Which year? 2015.
2015, I
15.
think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 2 years earlier than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that time in 2015, I think in Thailand there was the same situation that if you want to buy photo book, you have to go to the department store like Kinokuniya and Asia Books.
Yeah.
We have only these two branches, two brand, and all the books are the classical one, like
Yeah.
the big name and the easy to sell.
Yeah, it's the same here.
But what about the second-hand bookshop in Indonesia? Do you have the same kind like in Thailand? Like many foreigners, when they go back to their countries, they sell everything. Like photo books is the something they sell before they go back to their countries.
I'm not really looking at the second-hand bookstore. Ferry, do you have any idea?
No.
You like to go to Cikapundung?
Oh, yes, but photo books there not so many there.
Okay.
Only like a magazine, photography magazine, secondhand.
Yeah, maybe it's strange because I try to figure out that why there are photo books inside the second-hand bookshop in Thailand before, like 2015. But I must admit that after the COVID and everything, the international book fair that gather many publishers harder to sell their books and they don't import more. So when they don't import more, there are no dead stock or everything inside the countries.
Yeah.
So after 2019, I assume that the rare one and then the classical one, like for example, I used to find Bill Henson photo books inside the secondhand bookshop and maybe Bruce Weber, the first print, sort of that. And after 2019, I can't find anything anymore. So after 2019, I have to import all the first-hand books from many publishers and the distributors.
So you started to sell new books at 2019. Okay.
Yes, I think 2019 after the photo book JP, and in 2019 I start my online bookshop in Facebook as well.
Okay.
So maybe many more customers from IG. Yes, but I must admit that I start the bookshop from everything secondhand.
Yeah.
In the first 2 years.
And now I will move to the second question. So how's life for you and the bookstore, and especially with the pandemic and the protests? I saw that you are very active in the protesting.
Okay, let's talk about life first. Yeah, no more the main job like location scouting, no more management stuff. Nothing at all since 2020, very early. But in 2019, I started physical bookshops as well. So in 2019, everything seemed great. I have an event like the book talk and screening with my co-partner. He's a writer and he's good with the philosophy and the writing stuff. In 2019, we held the first event for Robert Frank. He died that year, right? So in that month, we organized the screening program. We screened the Pumi Daisy, and I was talking about Robert Frank as a photographer, and my co-partner talked about the Robert Frank in the Beat Generation stream. So we can draw many customers from photographers and writers and filmmakers. And it was really nice back then. After that, we did like 2 or 3 events. And here comes the pandemic in 2020 in early. But last year is not affected that much because our area, our old bookshop located in is very further away from the downtown. And actually there are not much customer visit us in the weekdays. So last year in the weekdays, we can go to the bookshop and do the stuff like accounting or do the stocking. And everything seemed so in 2020, but we cannot do the events. We don't have international book fair. We don't have the art book fair anymore. So completely like 80% of the sellings goes back to the online. And it increasing the task of every day. Like I have to check the website in the morning, answering email, and thinking about, okay, tomorrow we have to go to the bookshop to pack the stuff. But it's still fine in last year. Until the end of 2020, here comes the political unrest. That I'm thinking that in each day, if there are protests occur in any location in Bangkok, I have to think that, okay, can we post the new books for sale tonight? The customer are okay to, if they click on Instagram, is the feed still on or is over flooded by the news or the things that the protesters share, because most of my customers are in the same generation of the protester, and me myself are quite on the same side with the protesters. So sometimes I went to the protest area in the street, so I have to close the bookshop down. But I think in 2020 is still okay until this year. The situation is worse. I think it's the same in Indonesia, right? Like the number of the infectious is raising up. And I have just moved to the new location. This location is located in nearby the old area, and there are many clusters happen since April this year, and sometimes they have many what do we call the homeless around this area. And some days I follow the news and they are reported that many homeless die in the street nearby my bookshop. So I have decided to close down the bookshop, the new one again, since April, after just only 3 weeks that I have moved to the new one. And this year, 95% goes back to online. But the difficult thing is, as you see, I have the bubble roll inside the bookshop. I have everything storage here. And my apartments are located in the 3rd floor. So I cannot do everything inside my own apartment, like packing stuff or carry the box of 40 kilos to the 3rd floor. We have no elevator. So I have to drive back and forth from the apartment to the bookshop. But we're still under the soft lockdown. So I have to be there like around noon, call the postman to pick up the box. I have to go back before 7, and we have curfew at 9 p.m. So yeah, everything is tough.
Yeah, tough.
And to create the selection, what to pick to selling this month, we have to rely on the logistic and everything.
Yeah, I understand.
So yeah, I think it's the same, but you guys are 100% online. And I'm not sure about the customer in Indonesia. They are active or they are inactive after, if you have like the numbers of the COVID every day, do they lesser or still at the same level as last year?
Well,
I think the sales from the data, I think our best sales yet, I think in December 2020.
September.
December.
December.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after the COVID cases rise, the sales go down very quickly. I think in the first pandemic in March, April or March, maybe I think we can only sell 5 books in 1 month. Yeah, but the number is rising until the end of 2020. But after the second wave, the cases, the sales become bad again.
But last year still you can do like the events or the online talk?
No.
No.
Not at all? Okay.
Indonesian is I think from a health point of view, it's more dangerous because many people don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So
you are not in the lockdown or a curfew?
The government always change the lockdown status. I think after last year, we never had a hard strict lockdown implemented, but just after June or July this year, with the Delta variants, the government are forced to do the hard lockdown, but people still many people still activated like normal. They are still having activities outside. There are also many people who doesn't believe and won't wear masks. So
Okay.
so basically we decided to protect ourselves. There will be no more bookstore if we're dead. So yeah, we decided not to do any event from last year. We're thinking about it, but planning in the pandemics will generate many disappointment. I think.
Yeah.
So
And do you find it difficult when you have to ship some books, but the post office are closed or get some delay? I always got that problem this year.
I think per logistics, Indonesia logistics are all uh, all work normally. I think in terms of logistics, yeah. So the shipments are still coming, and our package are not our package that we sent are not being delayed, or we don't have that kind of problem.
I just got that kind of problem recently, like 2 months. Every services, like here in Thailand, we have like the Thailand post office. Half of some location got infected, like they closed down that district for 1 week. Yeah, it's really terrible. And book is like the object, and some people have to touch and everything. So my customers still nervous, and they keep asking me that the package clean, something like that. Yeah.
So
but
you have to.
In the bookshop, sometimes I have to wipe with the
Yeah.
alcohol on the cloth on every book that the customer come and touch. This year I try to be flexible. Like in April and May, I do the appointment only for customer to visit, like 4 people in 1 hour and 4 rounds. So it's like 16 people in a day. So after that, after every round, I have to clean up all the bookshops and put everything back to their place. But yeah, it's very difficult. but in June, one of our partner in the building got infected, so we have to close down. We'll close down again, and we didn't dare to open the bookshop yet.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yes, a lot of work. To have physical bookshop.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Okay, I will move on to the next question. So how is the photo or art book scene in Thailand? Do people still publish their photo books or art books nowadays?
from my observation, I think people are more willingly to do their books that self-published, but they don't have the space to sell. They don't have the events. They don't have the platform that help increasing their sales. Or we are not good in the online event as well too. So from the start of my bookshop in 2017, on the same time with the art book fair. So it's like a cycle that every year people will come and meet up at the book fair to share, okay, this year, this designer have their self-published book, or this photographers have new works. But from, since last year, there are many people come to my bookshop and ask, can I help them to doing published books? How much money do they have to spare to publish like 300 copies? But I might say to them that it is very difficult to working under this circumstance. Like if I promise you to do like 300 books, but in the end, if we don't have the book fair or we don't have any platform, the author platform that helps you, you're gonna be like spend too much money for just only one book. But at last, I think there are more people willingly to do that, but the situation is not in the right time for them. But what I'm interested in is not the one who want to make books or who want to publish books, but the customer who are willingly to buy books are more increasingly in each year. And there are more varieties. Like people will come and ask, do you have like the color photographer who publish books around 70s? They are more specific.
Okay.
Yeah, they are more specific. Or like people who, there are private library that we talked before, that private library are asking me that, can you make some selection to propose to the library? For me, it's very proud that I can be the one who selected books to the library, but I found out it is very challenging me as well, because I'm not that academic that much that can select like, this is very important for the book from which era. And the second thing is, I cannot find every book they're asking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find only just the new books right now. And all the history of photography book is very massive stuff. So I'm working with them, like I have to talk a lot and describe that. Or if you want the uncommon places different show, I cannot find it anymore. I don't know who is the distributor, and I don't know when it will be reprinted again. So they have their own list, like, okay, can I find our book? I find our Frank. So you imagine that it's a long list that I have to work for. Can you please repeat the question for me again?
Now, you are telling me about the photo
The
book
library.
scene in Thailand,
Okay.
and you explain that you are purchasing books for a library.
Okay.
My question is the library is a public library or government run library, or what do you call it?
The private library?
Yeah, private or government run library, or is it just focusing on art books or anything?
Okay, there are two libraries I'm working with now. The first one run by the government. The selection is more varieties, not only photography, like everything, like design, on it's design and creative libraries, what they call, under the government funding. And I just selected some books for photography section only. But the other libraries are mainly focused only photo books, photography only. So maybe this is very the first time that in Thailand we have the specific photo book library that happened in the same time. For the government library, they have like 10 years ago, but they are not on specific on photo book section. Like before then, they have the classic one and also the books about the photography techniques, photography critics, but not the monograph of the each artist that published each year. So
I think. Oh, okay.
And you please.
I'm sorry to cut you, but I think I find it interesting because our government run libraries does not purchase any photo books, especially not from foreign photographers or something.
Okay.
I think they have plenty of photo books from Indonesia, because if we apply for ISBN, we have to send a physical copy to our national library for their collection. So back to you.
Okay. I'm thinking that in Indonesia you have the library in universities. Do they have the photography section in their libraries?
I think it depends on the university. If the university have a photography faculty, then most probably they have a photography section in their library. But
yes, okay.
But my university, as I study law, my university doesn't have any photography books. So I found out about photography books when I went to a library in a gallery in Bandung, and they have photography books. So that's my introduction to photo books. Putus deh. So yeah, basically that's how I learned about photo books is from a library. And yeah, I think a library is important, but in Indonesia there aren't that many. Also people doesn't use them as much.
And do you have like the online social media content that keep producing the content about photographies or introduce new works of photographer to the audience? Because I'm thinking that in Thailand, like this year and last year, there are new, like the agency that keep producing this media to the customer, to the audience. So when the audience knew about this photographer, they will come back to my bookshop and ask whether that do I have this book of this photographer. And I think we are going not just only bookshop anymore. We are going like more platforms to support what we don't have in the pandemic, like the book fair and the events. Do you have this kind in Indonesia as well, or just only the talk in universities only?
Mm. I'm not sure how to answer that because I'm not really that active online. So I also don't hang out with don't hang out much during the
Okay.
pandemic. So in Indonesia we don't have media who talk about photo book especially in terms of photography. Probably there's one or two, not really one or two, but there are few photography related story that went into the media, but I don't think the Indonesian media talk about the books that we are selling in our store. So we have to do that promotion ourselves. If you see our Facebook page, we share a lot of articles or interviews. So that's just our way to to share about the work.
Maybe because Thai people are more addicted to the online social media content and everything. They all the time they swipe to Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, maybe the behavior is different, like Thai people and Indonesian people.
I think
And
Indonesian people
also,
are, yeah.
yeah, and also I think that there have never been any platform that telling stuff about photography, but the audience would love to know, and they don't know where to go to, so they go back to the online, but everything is in English, and that's
Okay.
the problem of the Thai people. So when they come to any media or any agency that translate back into Thai, so the Thai audience can easier to understand what is the idea of each work.
Okay.
For you guys, you can share the article in English, and no matter how your customer is good with English more than Thai people, so they can easier to read the article, and then they going to buy books from you or order books from you. But for us, it's not. So when they have many platforms that introduce photographers' work, so my task is lesser. I don't have to introduce every book like before, but sometimes we help each other. And here comes the private organization that willingly to support, to give money to this kind of agency to promote about photography. And so I think it's changed the landscape of photography in Thailand. Like when I meet you, Furry, at that time they have no any agency or platform like this before who translate back into Thai. So they changed like the last 2 years.
Well, that's a good progress to have.
Yes, it's a good progress to have.
Okay. Do you have any interesting customer stories?
The customer stories. Yeah, the both library is very interesting for sure. Interesting customer for sure. And whereas, yeah, we have new customer who is not photographer anymore. Like they are typical people who love to, at first, who love to visit the physical bookshop, who love to discuss with the works of each artist in the bookshop, like physical talking. So I can create like small communities of these customers who can come back every month and asking me that, do you have any new photo book to introduce to them? And later this year, I have like the photography students who should be study abroad, like in the UK or in the US, but they cannot go back to study. So when they knew that, I have moved to the new location, which easier to access than the previous one. They come to the bookshop and looking to the new books that are newly on sale. Like I cannot remember which one, but I think it's from Mac. So that the customer who is student said that it's good to have the bookshop that can keep the newly stock up to date, like any other bookshop in the world, for them to come and read and touch and to see the physical item first, not only just online. And sometimes when this kind of customer come, they meet with the new customer and they start talking to each other.
Yeah.
It's good to have community in small community in the bookshop. But yes, after it closed, I don't know. They keep text me in the story in Instagram that please continue doing bookshop. It's good place for us, and they promised me that if the pandemics end or if the situation is getting better, they will come back for sure.
I think that is a great point to have a physical bookshop, but you previously told me that it is hard work, but I think it's worth it with just what you say.
I think bookshop is one of the platform that should help create the big picture of the photography community in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I think I have many more events or discussion panel to be created after this. Maybe like the educational program that also in Indonesia University have, like you bring some selection of photo book to talk with the student who is not photography student, maybe sociology or anthropology. I think we can do that, and it is very new stuff, new kind of program that never been made here before. So it's like we see the chance in the future, but we cannot do it right now. Just keep pacing to survive in this.
Yeah, I think the main goal for nowadays is just to survive.
Survive. Yeah. And I just saw the publisher in Japan today. They have book fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, very jealous of them that they have the table and they can meet the customer in person.
Yeah, that's important for us as a bookstore.
When was the last time you attend the events or book fair?
I think it's back in
2019.
Yeah, 2019. So
Chip
it's
Fest, right?
no, it's Singapore Art Book Fair, I think. And then
okay.
and after that Jeep Fest. Yeah.
Same. My last time was in September 2019.
Yeah.
But do you think you are going back to do the like road trip photo book that you did? I read the article.
I don't know. Ferry.
This is interesting, but I don't know. Maybe if the situation get better.
But I think
everything is dependent on the situation and
yes.
and yeah.
But what would you like to do when the situation is getting better?
I think the road trip is on our mind, but doing a road trip means a lot of person will be involved, and that for the situation now is cannot be done, and then I also think about the Jeep Fest. The Jeep Fest will be held later this year in Jakarta, but I don't know if they can offer space for selling again due to circumstance. And I'm also thinking about doing a book fair, a small book fair like we saw earlier today in Japan. But I don't think there are enough publishers in Indonesia to make the book fair interesting. I cannot imagine if the book fair is have only 4 or 5 publisher and people will be interested to come. So that's another problem.
Okay. So
Would-
can I ask the same question that you asked me, that
Yeah.
during the pandemic, is there any Indonesian photographer who making new photo books for sale in these 2 years?
I don't think we found many. Yeah, that's one of the reason I asked you that question, because in Indonesia we the number of books being published is going down. I think
Sorry?
yeah.
Sorry to cut, but I have to ask that the books that you mean just only photo book or every kind of books that low number producing each year?
Only photo books.
Okay.
I think in terms of books being published by Indonesian writer, I think the number is still okay. But in terms of photo books, there aren't many. Probably because producing a photo books is a lot more expensive than doing just literature books. And also in this kind of situation, it is most books in Indonesia is published by themselves.
Self-published.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
self-published. So the financial risk is greater for them to publish. But I think I know there's a book about the pandemic that being supported by an NGO, I think. But that book is not for sale, for public sale. So I haven't seen it yet. they only send it to libraries, I think.
So that means in Indonesia you don't have the photo book publisher yet
We have
in the industry. You have?
Yeah, we have such as After Hours Books, and then
Cambodia.
Oh yeah,
Cambodia, but
the cat.
but but I think the number of book being published is even the publishers are not taking that risk to publish many books this or last year.
Okay, so maybe in Thailand we don't have the photo book publisher at all. But the number of photo book publishing each year is increasingly, but it's not more than 10. Like last year, maybe 2 or 3, but this year there are more like 5 people. And here come another, at first they make scene, but this year they start to change from the scene platform to book, to more like more delicate work in the publications. So yeah, in Thailand we have, but we have from zero. So the last 4 years, maybe altogether, the photo book that had been published and sell in photo book shops is rising up. Before that, it's just only the photo book that published in exhibition or the photo catalog. It's not photo book for me. So those kind of books doesn't goes into the function of distribution yet, just only the gallery and the artists themselves, not only bookshops or any selected shops. Or yes, we have the selected shops that select books for sale this year too. They are like the coffee shop, but they are neatly selected photo books that relate to like food culture or some interesting artist piece to sell in the coffee shop too. So like the culture is, the landscape and all the culture about photo book is changing in Thailand, mostly in Bangkok.
Okay. I will move to next question. What are your considerations when choosing the books that you stock? And also, you are telling me about book digging earlier. Do you still do it? Yeah.
Okay. What I'm consideration when I choosing book, the very first 2 years when I digging in the secondhand bookshop, I select from what I like and what I think that could be sell. But I must admit that in the very first 2 years, my vision is very narrow. I didn't really know that this book should be sold to any customer, because I don't know who is my customer yet until I building up my Instagram and the audience that being greater each year. So if the choice of choosing book in this year maybe bigger, like any kind of photo book should be sale, but how come I can find the target of each book? It means that sometimes I'm not the selector of each book. The customer instead who come. My cat is annoying me. So sometimes the customer direct message me that, can you find this photo book of this artist? And that book or that artist is very new name for me. So I have to do more research about it. Like fashion photographer, I don't know much about fashion photographer at all. So the customer will keep asking me about this. Or sometimes they ask about the magazine, the back issue. And you know, the magazine is like many branded. So I don't know anything about the magazine. So I have to, can the customer suggest where I could find the distributor? And sometimes the customer send the links. And the customer can also give information like the trend or like the chong they are following up to. Like if they are looking for the fashion photographer, So they are looking for the fashion magazine or author works of those designer, the fashion designer as well. And right now I try to select more photo books from what I don't really totally understand their works to create the conversation between me and the customer. Or sometimes I ask my girlfriend to help me to make the selection, like what you see, the nature and the plant stuff.
Yeah.
They are from my girlfriend's selection because she loves this kind of things. And also the customer love this selection as well. So it starts to be like the subcategory that can be sold, not only just photography that I select before, like street photography or landscape or the contemporary photographers. So I can create wider selection to nature, landscape, or scientific stuff. So every single day is like many new things to be learned, to be select photo books from all the bookshop I'm looking for or the publisher I'm looking for each day. What about you guys? You have created a new selection or the new song each day, or stick to the what you select before?
I think more or less is the same as you. We also started with our personal taste, and lately people are asking more and more about photo books that we don't know, which for us is also a good thing. It made us learn that our taste is not really popular. So
Me too.
so the
Some
books
customer asking me that, do I have like pop photo book, like the color pop photo book, or the kinds that, yeah, I know it could be sale, but I didn't have at my bookshop. Yeah, I don't understand you. What do you mean?
And then we during the pandemics, when purchasing power is getting down here in Indonesia, we decided to stock more. We consider the book price as one of the consideration when stocking books, and we found that a lot of Indonesians like writings on photography. So nowadays we stock a lot of that kind of titles too.
For example,
David
Company on photographs.
Yeah, David Company on photographs, and then we are looking for the new Susan May Salas for children. Yeah, it's also
yes.
selling well. Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
So maybe this kind of books are not selling well in Thailand yet because of the language, as I mentioned before. Even the library are asking that, can they have just only photo book that have a photos inside, not the critics or not the history, because right now they have a lot of works to do to get handle with the contents they have to make.
Well, I'm surprised that the language barrier is that
it's
hard.
Very big things.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, and one from my observation, when I translate each book into Thai, they can make sale more than what I use the English captions. And very strange thing is, for example, Thai people in Facebook always share the post from Moon Bookshop, which they use Chinese languages in the caption, and they share. But when I share the same book in English or in Thai, but it's a photo of the spread books, not the image of the artworks. They are not share my stuff.
Well, my
maybe because of the visual is easier to appreciate rather than the text for me.
I think in social media the visual is very important. Yeah, people are more interested in seeing than reading.
Yes.
So yes, so having a great visual is important. But if you see our Instagram page or Facebook page, we don't really give much
the information,
attention.
right? Yeah. For me, I cannot. I have to pay every detail, the attention to every details in the social media. And do you find any new customer lately? Like how they can reach you? Just because right now you have to rely on online stuff only.
I think we don't do anything new nowadays. So the customer only can find us through our usual Instagram social media outlet. But in terms of social media, I just noticed that when Instagram introduce reels, the numbers of likes in our page is going down badly. So we decided to also upload some reels, and then our YouTube actually is better than our other social media outlet, because the number of subscribers is rising steadily.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's strange. I didn't use YouTube at all.
Oh, you didn't use
I'm
YouTube.
not good in YouTube at all. Oh, the cat. I'm not using YouTube, and for Facebook, I just use only the direct message because there are two groups of the audience who doesn't use Instagram, but they use Facebook. Yes, this is very difficult.
Okay, then last question.
Okay.
What's your plan after the pandemic? Or this is a cliche question, but I have to ask.
Yeah. I would love to visit other countries. Anywhere I could go, I will. In any kind of circumstance, like residency or workshop or anything that relates to photo books or books or research trip, I would love to go out of this country for a while. But
is it hard for you to? I'm sorry to cut you. Is it hard for you to go out of Bangkok or Thailand nowadays?
I'm quite not sure that is there any other countries can allow Thai people to go out now because of the pandemic, because of the COVID. Like we today we got like 27,000 cases in each day. I know, but it's maybe lesser than in Indonesia, but I don't think we can go out right now. And under the the state emergency, they say the authorities say that we cannot travel from this province to another province, but in fact we can. But the
Okay.
thing is, the people wouldn't come together for any events or anything. So which means I go to another provinces, maybe just only for the vacation or stuff like that. But then again, they may the owner of the resort or my friends who live in other province, they should be scared of me, who is a Bangkokian. The Bangkok is like the biggest places that got COVID case each day. The outer province is not that much as in Bangkok. So which means after maybe the lockdown is over, the best way I could do is going to outer province to do like the road trip for the book club, or do the research trip, or some workshop that may be possible. For other countries, I don't think so. Yeah. So that is the first plan. The second one should be focusing on the physical bookshop. I have the empty space that I could do the screening or discussion panel and everything. And same if the people outside of Bangkok can travel to Thailand, I would love to invite them to create something in the space.
So foreigners are not allowed to go inside Thailand too.
I think Thailand allowed the foreigner to come, but the foreigner wouldn't like to come for sure. Let me think. I didn't see the foreigners visit us for whole this year, but at the earlier this year, there are foreigners who decide to leave Thailand. After they spend 15 years living in Thailand, they go back to New York, they go back to the Europe, maybe because of the political unrest, not just only the pandemic. So they decide to fly back, and some of them leave the photo book stock for me to sell at the shop.
Oh, okay. That's why you have plenty of used books. Yeah.
Yes. And some of the used books, I didn't go digging, but those secondhand bookshop adapted themselves to post online. And they digging their stock to post online. So I follow up and I talk to them. And sometimes I help them too, because most of the secondhand bookshop right now, they got severe cases. They cannot open the physical space, and they don't know how to get to the customer like before. And yes, the foreigner, the last group of foreigners who visit my bookshop was the group exhibition with Goethe, when we will have been young.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is my last foreigner friends who have visited the bookshop in February or March last year.
Yeah.
And after that, they have like many foreigner artists and photographers direct message to the Instagram that they apply for books to sell. They would like to send books to sales here in Bangkok. And yeah, of course, they say if the situation is better, they're willingly to visit me at the bookshop. So yeah, maybe if the world get back to the normal situation, I think everyone can travel freely.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure in 3 years can we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Indonesia, do they allow foreigner to visit, or they have like state quarantine 14 days regulation, or they don't allow at all?
I really don't know. Maybe
I read the news that before the Delta variant thing really blow out, there are people who are foreigners who are still going to Indonesia, but the Delta variants put spotlight on how people from India, which have the first Delta variants, are so easy to come to Indonesia, even with the mandatory 14 days of what do you call it?
Quarantine.
Quarantine. So I don't know what's the regulation now, but I don't think many foreigners are going to Indonesia too, because the situation is notoriously bad. Yeah.
But I think for Thailand, they try to restore the travel industry.
Yeah.
They try to open their border for the tourists because that is the main income of our countries. Like right now, they do the program like they call Phuket Sandbox. Phuket is very the big island province that many tourists will come each year, and they will let all the travelers or the tourists who boarding to Thailand to stay there in Phuket for 14 days first. And after that, they allow the tourists to travel around the countries. But right now, Phuket is full of the Delta variant as well. So I'm not sure this program will work or not. But I think the government try to open the border.
Yeah, the same problem here with the tourism industry.
But have you got any like invitation from other countries to join, like selecting photo book from Indonesia to other countries? It's like my hope is not in my country. My hope is outside, like maybe in Japan or in Hong Kong or Taiwan. Maybe those countries can do the events faster than us. So maybe we could join some program with them, hopefully.
I think just last week, Subaki-san contacted me. I don't know if he contacted you as well.
Same.
Yeah. So that's the only good news lately.
Sadly, but yes.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm thinking that my bookshop still not my country is not producer of photo book.
Yeah.
I cannot export the books to like any festival or any book fair. So maybe this function still the same, like 4 years we have been talking together, 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure about Singapore as well. Maybe they continue doing the SIPF next year or this year?
I think last year they did the SIPF. It's
so maybe next year.
Yeah, it's a biannual thing.
And what else? I think this year there are no Angkor Photo Festival too. But they have the grants, you know.
Yeah, the grants for I don't know what's the word. Yeah, but I just saw it earlier today.
They sent me the PDF file of the research from photographers around Southeast Asia, or also the alumni. I didn't read it yet, but yeah, I will.
I saw it, and they mentioned you they mentioned Vacilando Books as a information source relating photography. I think.
Maybe my customer mentioned my
Yeah.
bookshop name. Yeah, for sure. But I saw Matka from Vietnam doing new stuff, new issue of the magazine,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Are you going to have a session with them soon? I would love to know from the Vietnamese side, or yeah, other part of Southeast Asian.
To be honest, I haven't contacted Matka or knew anyone from Matka, so I will have to do some research and approach them first, I think.
Yes, I think they are very good on apply for the funding from the institute to support them to make books and everything. I'm not good at all.
I think as a bookstore, it is harder for us to get some financial support, because they see us as a commercial. Yeah. Commercial
But we can do
entity.
that. Yeah.
So I will have to end the recording
Okay, sure.
now, so we can talk business.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the session.
Yeah.
And when okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Withit.
Thank you very much to you all as well.